Nobody's here, but we can start speaking.
Welcome, friends. Welcome to this live chat, Facebook live chat. And we are going to talk about some of the unanswered questions on the big historic move that was made in terms of demonetization of Indian currency of the denomination 500 and 1000. Last time when we had this live chat, immediately after this historic decision was announced, the response was truly overwhelming. And I checked, the video was seen by 13,000 people, and there were many questions which could not be answered then. I'm sure many of you have unanswered questions. Many of you have questions which have arisen after our last discussion on the Facebook live chat. So please shoot. The first question is from Ranjit Kumar. It says, "Sir, what are the pros and cons of demonetization?" My feeling is that as an economist, I know that it will have some short-term adverse effect, like what we see a lot of people finding it very difficult to withdraw their own hard-earned money. So there are long queues at the banks and other places. So that is a short-term disadvantage, inconvenience caused, and also there would be a little bit of dip in the growth rate. These are the two disadvantages. But I believe that over the period of time, over the next 4 or 5 weeks at best, say from 1st January 2017, the positive effects will kick in, and the positive effects are enormous. There are many positive effects, and I will talk about them as we go along. First of all, there would be a very large increase in the bank deposits. It would be a quantum leap in terms of financial inclusion. If you look at the history of India's financial development, there have been 3 occasions when there was a big boost to financial inclusion. The first one was when Prime Minister Indira Gandhi nationalized public sector banks in 1969. That gave a big fillip to the banking system, and we moved away from class banking to mass banking. So that was a big step towards financial inclusion. After that, not much happened in terms of financial inclusion. That was moving on only gradually. But what happened was with Jan Dhan Yojana, there was another big leap. And now with this demonetization move, there is going to be a quantum leap in terms of financial inclusion. So improvement in financial inclusion, movement away from the cash economy towards a credit economy is going to happen. And if you look around the world, only 4% of currency forms only 4% of GDP for most industrialized countries. In our country, currency forms about 16% of our GDP, which means that we are primarily cash-based society, and we need to change towards the credit-based, not cash-based, but credit-based society, and that is what will be achieved. Third thing that will happen is that there would be, because the banks would be flushed with funds, and it will also have a positive effect on containing inflation, because in as much as we mitigate the black money, there would be jump in the government revenues. So government tax revenue would increase considerably, and that money could be used for education, health, and other social sector. More importantly, what will happen is that with more money coming in the government coffers, there is also, one has to understand that larger the black economy, larger is the pressure on prices. So higher are the inflationary pressures, higher is the existence of black money. To the extent that we control black money, the inflationary pressures would be down. So just imagine, there would be massive liquidity, with the government, there would be massive liquidity in the banking system, and the inflationary expectations would be down, which would mean that the interest rates could come down considerably. And if the interest rates come down, small businesses and others will get tremendous benefit. So that these are some of the very important implications. The most important implication I did not talk about is that there would be a major hit on the terrorism financing. Terrorism financing, a very large amount of terrorism financing is taking place. It has been argued by the former finance minister, Mr. Chidambaram, that what is the size of the fake money? Fake money, the total size is about 400 crores. The size of total currency in circulation is about 17 lakh crore. So he has asked a question, how does it matter? For 400 crore rupees in the 17 lakh crore rupees of currency in circulation is very small proportion, and therefore it should not matter. And then he has raised the issue that why should we try to destroy the 400 crore of fake money, and to destroy that, why should we hold up from circulation 17 lakh crore rupees of the currency in circulation? This looks correct and logically correct. It is arithmetically correct. Only thing is that it is very misleading. Not only it is misleading, it is insensitive. It is even a callous statement. Let me explain. Let us look at another ratio. What is the total number of deaths caused in India from terrorism? The South Asian Terrorism Portal data shows that during the period, 23-year period from 1994 to 2016, there have been total deaths induced by terrorism have been about 35,000 people. 35,000 people have died. Now, if somebody makes an argument that what is 35,000 people? We have a population of 125 crore. The ratio of the number of people died from terrorism, 35,000, and the ratio of the total population is very, very small. Does that mean terrorism is not a problem at all? You cannot make that argument. The fact that the ratio is small does not mean that the problem is small or simple. The very fact that these 400 crore of fake currency was good enough, or I would say bad enough, to cause the death of 35,000 innocent civilians clearly shows that it is a very important, very major problem, and therefore the surgical strike that Honorable Prime Minister Narendra Modi has done on the fake money is very, very relevant and very, very important step undertaken. At the same time, it is also a very important surgical strike on black money, and I will talk about that as we go along. Let me take a look at other questions. There are so many other questions. What immediate steps could be taken by RBI and the banks to ease the hardships of common people? First of all, let me completely accept that there has been a lot of inconvenience caused to a lot of people, and that should not have happened. It could have been planned better. I understand those feelings completely, but please understand that there are three kinds of people who are queuing up before the banks. First one is a lot of people feel that this demonetization means that their money is now worthless. So they want to withdraw money from the bank and they think that it's lost. So they are one set of people, and my sympathies are fully with them. Second one, they need assurance that their money, honest people's money, is going nowhere. It is not going to be hurt at all. The second category of people are the people who are honest taxpayers who want money for day-to-day conversion, day-to-day expenditure, running their families. And for that they need money, and whatever money they have that has become invalid, and therefore they are queuing up before the banks to convert that into the new currency notes. Again, I have fullest of the sympathy for this category also. Unfortunately, the reason why the queues are too big is because of the third category of people, and these are what is now the new expression has come, cash coolies. These are all cash coolies, because a lot of people with lot of cash which they cannot explain holding that much cash, they are actually hiring people, the cash coolies, who stand in queue, and they can afford to pay them, and they are paying them large amount of money to stand in queue, and that is why there has been too much queues, and RBI is taking every possible step to ease the situation, providing the currency at various places. So they are doing that, and this is exceptionally temporary problem, transitory problem. I know how painful it is. I fully empathize with the problem, but at the same time, I must say that this is a transitory problem and it will get over very soon. It's like a surgery. While surgery is inevitable, and when you are doing the surgery, some amount of pain is inevitable, but you cannot say that I'm not going to go for a surgery because I don't like the pain. Nobody likes the pain, nobody likes the inconvenience, but for the better future, I think we should all accept and adopt that. How can Ajit Linghate has asked, how can India become a cashless economy, as most of the people live in rural area where there is no internet access, and in most area no network coverage? Very good question. Nobody is saying that India would become a cashless economy. Please understand, we are not talking about becoming cashless economy, and all other notes are not invalidated. 1 rupee, 10, 5 rupee, 10 rupee, 100 rupee, all those notes are there and will remain. We are only talking about demonetizing 500 rupee and 1000 rupee notes. One. Second, what is the size of currency in India in relation to the rest of the world? If you look at United States or any other advanced economy, the size of currency as the ratio of their GDP is about 4%. 4% only. Whatever is the GDP, currency in that country is only 4%. What is India's proportion? In India, the ratio of currency to GDP is as high as 16%. That means that we have pumped in too much of currency. Now, what we need to do is not to move to completely to go to the cashless society, but we need to reduce this proportion from 16% as of now, 16% of GDP as of now, to about 8 to 9%. That would still be higher than the world average, but we need to reduce this proportion, and this demonetization step will achieve that. The currency does not go away. It is not completely cashless economy. Only the higher denomination currency have been demonetized, and they are being replaced by other currencies. So we are not talking about cashless society at all. Anand Wadke has asked, financial inclusion is not near 60% in India. Is PMJDY not people have bank account yet? So how do you see the situation? No, basically what we are talking about is that in 1969, when Indira Gandhi nationalized the banks, there was a big move from class banking to mass banking. That was a big step, and we must understand and appreciate that. Then Jan Dhan Yojana was brought about by this government. So very large number of accounts were opened, and in the beginning there was a complaint that there is nothing in that account and the cost of maintaining those accounts is more. But by linking that to Aadhaar and linking that to the direct benefit transfers, all those accounts or crores of those accounts have become operative. So it became a big step further. Now what will happen is that now with the demonetization, very large amount of cash which was sitting in the cupboards, in the lockers, under the floor, over the floor, everywhere, that cash is going to come back to the banking system. This is very important. I define, as everybody knows, black money is essentially a money. As you are aware, what is black money? Black money is not black in color. Black money is that part of money on which tax has not been paid. Now, in the black money, as I see it, there are two kinds. One, black money, all this is ill-gotten money, kept by money which is avoiding tax, right? Now, this money can be active black money or passive black money. What is active black money? Black money which is already invested in real estate, already invested in gold, jewelry, metals, and so on. That is active black money. Nothing is going to hurt that right now. But there is another part. We don't know how large is that part, but I believe that there is a substantially large part which is a passive black money. Passive black money is this stock of money which has been kept as hoards, people hiding them somewhere. Now that money is going to become worthless. So if anybody has a hard-earned money on which he or she has paid taxes, they have absolutely nothing to fear. It is only the minor inconvenience. But the corrupt politicians, corrupt businessmen, unscrupulous businessmen, and corrupt high officials, those of these people who and major tax evaders, doctors, lawyers, many self-employed professionals who do not pay proper tax on their income and generate black money and keep it in the form of cash, they are going to be in trouble, because they will have to explain when they go with their cash to the bank up to 2.5 lakhs, nobody is going to ask any question. But if they pay more money than 2.5 in deposit in their account, something which is not commensurate with their known sources of income, they would be reported, questions would be asked. And that is why these are the people who are really scared. Praful Rokde is saying, everything is acceptable, but how can the 2000 rupee notes are available in BJP minister's house before the launch of 2000 bunch? Please describe. No, this is your statement. I have not said anything to that effect, and I do not believe everything that appears on the social media. Now, for example, I do not want to take side of any politician whatsoever or any political party, but look at this story that was floating, that there was a lady shown dancing with the 2000 rupee currency notes, and purportedly they said that she was the daughter of a particular party functionary in Uttar Pradesh. It turned out that that particular functionary does not have a daughter. And this lady was a bank employee who was showing around the fresh notes of 2000 rupees when they arrived in the vault of the bank before distribution to people. Now, I'm not taking anybody's side, but I want to emphasize that everything that appears on the social media does not have to be true. If it is true, it would be very wrong and it must be punished. But I do not think that for sure that this is what has happened. Prafulji, I have answered your question. Krishna Gawhad Patil, what is the impact on GDP and the national development? What will happen is that India today is one of the fastest growing country in the world. We are growing at the rate of 7.5% per year. And we are the fastest growing country in the world today, especially among the large countries. What I think will happen is that in the Q4, in the current quarter, and possibly in the next quarter, the Q4, that means the first calendar quarter or fourth quarter of the current financial year, growth rate will slow down, and it is estimated that from 7.5% will come down to about 6.5% during that quarter. But immediately after that, all the positive effects will kick in, and then we will have not only we are going to be back on high growth path, we will also have a better quality growth. Let me explain this argument. Not only we will have, what will happen is that when the banks are flushed with funds and when inflation is down, that would be the time when the interest rates can be lowered. When the interest rates can be lowered, small traders, small businessmen, artisans, all these people will be able to get very low cost money. Today, as reported in the paper yesterday, 5 lakh crore of fresh deposits have come in the banking system. 5 lakh and few thousand crore in the first 10 days. Now, that's a very large amount of money. And what is the cost of borrowing for the bank? Cost of getting that? Assuming that they are in the savings, partly in savings account and partly in the current account, cost of borrowing for the banks is only 3%, or less than 3%, which means that the interest rates are going to go down. There will be room for the lending banks to lower their interest rate. When they lower the interest rate, the industry will get fillip, the manufacturing will get fillip, and that will create more jobs. What has happened is that although we are fastest growing country in the world, the rate of job creation has not been satisfactory, and we know this is one of the major challenges. Where has the wealth accumulation taken place? It has not happened in terms of manufacturing, efficiency, and so on. It has not happened because of additional robust job creation. That is exactly what can happen with the lower interest rate. There would be a great boost and fillip to manufacturing policy, manufacturing sector, more jobs would be created. So not only will get back on the high growth trajectory, we will have high growth with greater quality, in the sense that higher growth accompanied by larger creation of jobs, and that will hold out very well for our country. Chetan Suple has said, Ethe pan Jai Bhim. Okay, Jai Bhim. Lakshman Thorat is saying, बाबासाहेबांनी सांगितले होते 10 वर्षांनी करन्सी चेंज करा. लक्ष्मणराव, प्रॉब्लेम ऑफ रुपी हे पुस्तक मी फार काळजीपूर्वक वाचलेलं आहे, त्याच्याबद्दल मी लिखाणही केलेलं आहे. परंतु बाबासाहेब आंबेडकरांनी असं कुठेही लिहिल्याचं माझ्या तरी निदर्शनाला आलेलं नाही. तुम्ही जर मला एक विशिष्ट पान सांगितलं की अमुक पानावरती बाबासाहेबांनी असं म्हटलेलं आहे, तर मला अतिशय आनंद वाटेल. परंतु तसं म्हटलेलं नाही. सोशल मीडियामध्ये ज्या अनेक खोट्या गोष्टी सर्क्युलेट होतात, त्यापैकी ही गोष्ट आहे असं मला वाटतं. बाबासाहेब आंबेडकरांनी लिहिलेला प्रॉब्लेम ऑफ रुपी हा ग्रंथ हा साक्षात ताजमहाल आहे. त्या ताजमहालाला काही लोकांनी आपापली वीट लावण्याचा प्रयत्न केलेला आहे. तो अत्यंत दुर्दैवी आहे असं मला वाटतं. आपण कृपा करून मला जर पान क्रमांक सांगितला, आणि असं सांगण्यात येतं आहे, आणि प्रकाश आंबेडकर आणि इतर काही नेत्यांनी सुद्धा म्हटल्याचं मला सांगण्यात आलेलं आहे, की बाबासाहेबांनी असं म्हटलं होतं की भ्रष्टाचार कमी करायचा असेल तर दर 5-10 वर्षांनी नोटा बदला. बाबासाहेबांनी ज्यावेळी प्रॉब्लेम ऑफ रुपी हा ग्रंथ लिहिला 1925 साली, त्यावेळी भ्रष्टाचार आणि काळा पैसा हे प्रश्नच देशापुढे नव्हते. त्यामुळे बाबासाहेबांनी तसं म्हटलं असण्याची शक्यता नाही. परंतु ते असल्यास कृपा करून मला दाखवून द्या, असं तुम्हाला माझं प्रेमाचं आवाहन आहे. आशिष पेंडसे, सर गुड इव्हिनिंग. ही सेज, आर यू सॅटिस्फाईड विथ दी पोस्ट demonetization situation in the country? ATM out of cash, our no, I am not satisfied, Ashish. I am not satisfied at all with the situation. But please, as I was explaining some time back, there is a lot of hardships, lot of inconvenience. People are not able to withdraw their own money, but that's because any banking system, Ashish, banking or insurance, these two sectors work on the basic presumption that at a point of time, only a small proportion of people would be drawing money from the bank. If all the depositors try to borrow all their money, the best of the banking system will collapse. You know, that is the rule which applies everywhere. Same thing about insurance. Now, what has happened is that there is an unnatural large crowd at the banking thing because of the reasons that I explained earlier before you came in. One is the innocent people who are feeling scared, that they feel that their money is gone, so they are trying to withdraw money. Then there are people, honest people like you and me, honest taxpayers who want to change their currency, and they need money for day-to-day transactions. Perfectly legitimate. But at the same time, please don't forget, In addition to these two categories, there is also a third category of people, very large number of people who are cash coolies. That is the new expression. So there are many people who have large amount of cash which they cannot explain. They are hiring people to stand in the queue, and that is why there are very large number of queues. But the situation is easing. RBI is responding very well within the given situation, and the situation will ease up. I think a little bit of more inconvenience for little longer, and then the future would be certainly very, very beneficial. What is your opinion about Finance Minister Arun Jaitley? I should not be talking about opinion about a particular minister. Swapnil Sonane had said, sir, don't you think that the decision was good but the execution was poor? No, I think the decision is not only good, the decision is great, but the execution could have been better. That is what I would like to say. Ajay Kumar Garg says that I think this move of Modi government will definitely change the face of nation in terms of cost of loan will go down and many more people will have their own house. Indeed, that is exactly what I am saying. You know, a lot of people are trying to say, I feel really very strange and ironical that people, the corrupt politicians and corrupt bureaucrats and unscrupulous businessmen, particularly corrupt politicians who are known to have amassed so much money, they are talking about the difficulties of the poor people at the commercial banks. I mean, there can't be a more ironical situation. So that said, the execution, they have tried to execute this properly, but there are in a complex country and continental sized country with financial literacy limited, I think there is a lot of pressure on the banks, and that will subside over a period of time. I would say in the next 4 weeks, within next 4 weeks, the situation would come back to normal. Bhalchandra Shirke said, hello sir, what do you think? How much time will it take to normalize? I have already answered that. Gautam Chandra Kant, sir, I think step is good, but the intention of Modi government is not good. The way they are doing publicity. I do not know what was the intention of the government, but I assume that the intention of the government was to make a surgical attack on black money and on the fake money. And I have no reason to doubt that. Gautam Chandra has also asked, Lavraj Gavade has said, सर आपल्याला कॅशलेस इकॉनॉमी आणि भ्रष्टाचार बंद करायचा आहे, त्यासाठी आपण 500 आणि 1000ची नोट बंद केली व 2000ची नोट काढली, त्यामागचे कारण सांगा. कारण 2000ची नोट काढली तर कॅशलेस इकॉनॉमी कसं म्हणता येईल? हे पहा, आपल्याला आय थॉट यू आर स्टॉपिंग मी. दॅट्स ओके ना. आपल्याला कॅशलेस इकॉनॉमीकडे जायचं नाहीये. आता आपली जी फार कॅश डॉमिनेटेड इकॉनॉमी आहे त्याच्यामधलं कॅशचं डॉमिनन्स थोडं कमी करायचं आहे आपल्याला कॅशलेस इकॉनॉमीकडे जायला अजून 1 सेंचुरी लागणार, म्हणजे 50 वर्ष तरी लागणार आहेत. आता आपल्याकडे जी करन्सी आहे, चलन आहे, ते चलन एकंदरीत राष्ट्रीय उत्पन्नाच्या जवळजवळ 16% आहे. सगळ्या प्रगत देशामध्ये त्यांच्या राष्ट्रीय उत्पन्नाच्या फक्त 4% असतं, आपल्याकडे 16% आहे. मग या 16%चं आपल्याला 10%वरती आणायचं आहे, 8-9-10%वरती आणायचं आहे. ते आपल्याला साध्य करायचं आहे. कॅशलेस इकॉनॉमी आपल्याला इतक्यात नको, आपण त्यासाठी अजून तयार नाही, परंतु त्या दिशेने आपल्याला जायचं आहे, एवढं मात्र खरं आहे. राजेश गुरव हॅज आस्क्ड, Rajesh Guru, sir, do you think the corruption in India will come down? No, corruption is a human failing. We have given a big jolt. We have given a big jolt to corruption, and we are doing that through this means, and there's no doubt about it. But I would not be so naive to say that this means that corruption will not happen anytime in future. We Indians are very clever. We always know how to find a way around the rules and regulations, and we are known in the world for that. Now what I am saying is that right now there is a big setback, which means that for some time the corruption would be contained, or it would get a big shock. After that, it is like chore police. in economics we call that regulatory dialectic. So it is a chore police game. The thief has always to remain 2 steps ahead of the police. And the police has to constantly adjust to make sure that he or she is aware of the changing realities and to catch up. This constantly goes on. So if we have now given a big jolt, we should not rest under laurel that in future there will be no corruption. There would be corruption in some other way, and we'll have to find a way, constantly keep a vigil and find a way to take care of, mitigate that kind of problem. But this undoubtedly is a big jolt, but in a complex country like India, of a continental sized country like India, big problems cannot be solved by just one stroke. This is a blow, yes, but this is only beginning of the process which will continue for years to come, I think. Kapil Gaikwad says, sir, what do you have to say on Vijay Mallya, Janardhan Reddy and Lalit Modi, Adani? Are they good for economy of India or they are good for RSS and BJP? All of those people, Vijay Mallya and the names that you are mentioning, those who have worked against our country, those who are antisocial and those who have undertaken illegal activities, they are enemies of our country. And when they are enemies of our country, I mean they are enemies of our nation, of all 125 crore people of India, and they must be brought to books. That's my position. And there can be no two opinion about that, and there's no room for any concession to be given to them. Yogiraj Kumbhar has said, sir, say about DCC Bank. DCC Bank is the Development Cooperative Bank. I should refrain from talking about any particular cooperative bank, but I would like to say this, my friends, that many people are saying that, oh, corruption is in trouble, सहकाराच्या विरुद्ध आहे, सहकाराचा गळा घोटण्याचं काम चाललेलं आहे. Please do understand that cooperative banks in our country are the banks where KYC, that is know your customer, is not applicable. Do you not know that cooperative banks are generally run by politicians? And because there is no KYC, that is know your customer norm, there are allegedly very large number of Benami transactions and Benami accounts. And the business of opening huge number of Benami accounts is currently on. So what I am trying to say is that for the cooperative sector, I think for the entire banking sector, we must strictly enforce KYC norm, and what is being done in terms of people trying to deposit money completely not commensurate with their known sources of income should be punished. And the vigilance, the instructions are that it is immediately reported to the income tax authorities and action would be taken. Even on the day this took place, 8 o'clock the announcement was made and people had time up to 12 o'clock. Don't you know that by 12 o'clock, all the shops were kept open, the gold jewelry shops, and the gold prices went up by 100% from 30,000 to 60,000 in 4 hours. So we are very smart people, we did that. But people don't realize that all those transactions have been recorded in CCTV cameras. So if the government wants to go after the people who particularly on that day went to jewelry shop and spent a lot of money, the old money which was going to be invalid, they are captured in the camera. So if the government wants to take action, the government will, and they should. Okay, Diptesh Kadam is saying, can curbing the black money be attributed to simply demonetization of currency, and what about its impact on the informal sector, which constitutes 70% of the India's economic sector, which is only cash economy? No, India has a very large cash economy and there is a large informal sector, there is no doubt about it. It will make a transition. See, we are, in terms of technology, we are poised at a stage where adoption of technology is going to be a lot easier, and it is. Who would have imagined, just 10 years back, who would have imagined that almost everybody will have a mobile phone in their hand? We couldn't have imagined just 10 years back. But today we can. And we don't have to only use the plastic in terms of credit card. There are several ways of making payment on your cell phone. And we have 65 crore cell phones. So we have already moved, technology is moving in that direction, and what we need to do is to strengthen that and use that to move from cashless economy to move towards not ultimately reaching there, but towards the cashless economy, because we have too much cash in our country. Now here I must emphasize that one of the biggest advantage of going through these kind of mechanisms is that people will have to pay taxes. That is why many places in the shop, when you go, they say आपको receipt मांगता है, अगर receipt मांगता है तो आपको tax pay करना पड़ेगा. And lot of people, including perfectly law-abiding Indian citizens, opt for not taking a receipt because they save on the tax. Now that kind of thing is going to get over. Once you move to the electronic mode of payment, that kind of thing is going to get over. Therefore, government will get much larger revenues than what they have been getting in the past. Gautam Chandrakant, if they have done this without speech of Modi, if it was announced by the RBI governor, then this much opposition would not have been faced by the government, and everything would be peacefully implemented. What do you think regarding? No, I do not think. Reserve Bank of India governor is an employee of the government of India, and I think the Prime Minister did the right thing. Such a historic move, such a bold move would have to be announced and explained by the Prime Minister, and that is what he did. And I think that's a very correct thing to have done. Reserve Bank governor is not elected representatives of 125 crore people. He is just an official appointed by the elected government. And the head of the elected government, democratically elected government, is the Prime Minister, and he took the responsibility and he made that announcement, and I think that was absolutely the right thing to do. Tejas Mohite is saying, sir, what will be the strategies according to you to overcome this situation by RBI? RBI is very vigilant. RBI is right now on an overdrive, and they are doing everything. See, this has been going on for 8 months. Do you realize that? When a paper is to be converted into a currency, do you know how long it takes? 21 days. Because it's a very complicated process. And creation of new money and new design, this whole process actually takes 8 months. So it was going on. The preparations were going on. Very few people knew what is going to happen. They thought that this is like changing the notes, changing the currency. Nobody knew that 500 and 1000 rupee currency notes are going to be demolished. So it was going on. Very few people knew what was going to actually happen. The work was going on, and they were doing it very diligently, very meticulously. That was going on, and they had to keep the whole thing secret. So a stage came. There is always room to do it better, but a stage came when they must have thought that keeping this secret any longer would be difficult or impossible, and the success of this depends on the surprise element. So to get the surprise element, without 100% preparation done, if they had waited for 100% preparation done, then there was a risk of leaking that. And if that leakage had taken place, the whole thing would have been a disaster. So they struck a balance, madhyam marga, the middle path they chose. So at some point of time, they said, this is the time to go, and they went ahead. And I think they are now fine-tuning the arrangements to make sure that the hardships, the inconvenience to people is minimized, and that I think is the right way to go about it. Lakshman Thorat, all India want to have 1000 rupees Dr. Babasaheb Ambedkar. Yes, as you are aware, I'm working on that, and I certainly hope that it will happen earlier rather than later. New currency inside the chip. Chandrakant Kamble has said, new currency. Ashish Pense has joined. Tushar Gaikwad. Will demonetization affect job opportunities? Yes, I explained. What would happen is that not only our growth rate would slow down for 1 quarter only, and it will pick up, and when we come back on the higher growth path, say from the first quarter of the next next calendar year, what will happen what will happen is that it would be a big boost to the manufacturing sector in terms of the lower interest rate, because banks are flush with the funds and their cost of borrowing is as low as 3% or thereabout. Therefore, there is the room for interest rates to come down, inflationary expectations would be down, inflation down, interest rates would also come down. That would give a fillip to manufacturing sector, that would create more jobs, and therefore high growth with high quality in terms of larger generation of jobs to go with higher growth, which would be ideal situation. Anish Bauddha says note ban is surgeon made operation without anesthesia. That is how it has been described, and there is some merit in saying that it was a surgery performed without giving anesthesia, because this surgery was required, and if the surgery was done with anesthesia, that would have meant keeping people completely in dark. I don't think that would have worked. So it had to have the surprise element, and that was achieved. Then we have Nitin saying, what is the effect on the size of economy due to demonetization, and how and what is the solution? It will promote growth after the short run difficulties. It will promote growth, and therefore size of our economy would improve, and it would improve considerably as in the years to come. Deepak Mohite, do you think 200 rupee notes would have been good choice instead of 2000? No. You know, as we go along, with every inflation, the value of rupee is going down. So higher denomination currency are going to be needed. In 5 years, I would imagine there would be a 5,000 rupee currency, and in 10 years, I imagine that there would be a 10,000 rupee currency, because 2,000 rupees today or 1,000 rupee of say 7 years back is same thing as 2,000 rupees now. So those who are complaining about 2,000 rupees as too large, they are the ones who defended similar monetization done by Morarji Desai and Indira Gandhi. At that time, the value of that currency, you look at it, the value of that currency now, and you will find that 2,000 rupees is less than the value of the currency when it was demonetized during that regime. But some people are still talking about 2,000 rupees being a very bad choice. I do not accept that at all. Lokesh Patode, what about 2,000 rupee notes? How illiterate women or men will deal with online payment or transaction? What provision for them? See, currency is not being destroyed completely. Remember that very large part of currency is going to remain intact. So those who want to continue to deal with notes would continue to deal with the notes, but gradually they should be changing. In fact, in many places today, senior citizens IT classes are being held for many senior citizens to comply with the new style of living, booking a taxi on Uber, or withdrawing money or making fund transfer from one bank to another. All that can be done with a handset, with your mobile phone, and it does not require a great technology to understand that. Many people in many colleges I know, they are actually holding classes for senior citizens to acquaint themselves with the new style, which they find very interesting and very efficient. Machindra Saste, good analysis, he says, thank you very much. Swapnil Sonawane says, many of the hotels and shops are charging 10% more if you swap debit or credit cards. How can this be stopped? No, they should not, but when you make a payment through credit card, you have to pay the service charge. That is something that you cannot avoid. And the service charge, when GST comes, will actually increase. So you are going to be hit by that, and you should have less choice but to pay by either credit cards, by debit card, or Paytm kind of arrangements. And that is happening. I wish personally, sir, that you will make governor of RBI. No, I understand and appreciate your feelings, but there is no way I can become governor of RBI. I'm way beyond that. I'm quite happy where I am. Diptesh Kadam has said, Sir, what are your views on demonetization and upcoming important state elections such as UP? Will it play a role and effect? Very good question. I have given my views on demonetization. About the other issue, the state election, just look at the timing. 5 states are going to have their elections, including the largest state in our country. And a lot of politicians, all political parties, must have collected a lot of cash because we all know that elections have become more and more and more expensive, and election commission has also been very vocal about it. Now, to take a step like that and hurting everybody who has stash of money unaccounted for, ill-gotten wealth, I think it required a courage, and that courage this government has shown. So I'm very happy about it. लवराज गावडे सर, तुम्ही मगाशी बोलले की 2000च्या नोटमुळे जे प्रमाण जीडीपीशी 16% आहे ते 10% आणायचे, ते कसे काय? प्लीज एक्झाम्पल देऊन सांगा. म्हणजे बघा, असं आहे लवराज की तुम्ही कॅशने द्यायच्या ऐवजी तुम्ही पेटीएमच्या माध्यमातून पे केलं किंवा चेकने पेमेंट केलं किंवा क्रेडिट कार्डने पेमेंट केलं तर तुमच्याकडे जे चलन आहे त्या चलनाचा उपयोग कमी होणार आणि इतर ज्या गोष्टी आहेत, इतर फॉर्म्स जे आहेत, चलनाचे जे इतर फॉर्म आहेत त्याचं प्रमाण वाढत जाणार. त्यामुळे आपल्या राष्ट्रीय उत्पन्नाशी असलेलं चलनाचं प्रमाण हे तुम्ही जर प्रत्यक्ष डायरेक्टली चलन द्यायच्या ऐवजी चेक दिला किंवा क्रेडिट कार्ड दिला तर हे प्रमाण आपल्या राष्ट्रीय उत्पन्नाशी कमी होत जाणार आणि ते तसं होणं हे प्रगत होण्याचं लक्षण आहे असं समजलं जातं आणि ते मला पूर्णपणे मान्य आहे. नंतर let me take fresh question. Thank you, sir, and your book Amsa Baap and Ami was inspiring for all. Lokesh Patode, thank you very much. तुम्हाला सगळ्यांना ते आवडलं, यातच सगळं काही आलं. पण मी तुम्हाला मुद्दाम सांगू इच्छितो की मराठी भाषेच्या 800 वर्षाच्या इतिहासामध्ये कुठल्याही पुस्तकाच्या 100 पेक्षा जास्त आवृत्ती विकल्या गेल्या नव्हत्या आणि आमचा बाप आणि आम्हीची सध्या 197वी आवृत्ती चाललेली आहे आणि पुढच्या काही महिन्यांमध्ये ज्यावेळी 200 आवृत्त्यांचा उच्चांक होईल त्यावेळी मोठं एखादा फंक्शन ऑर्गनाईज करण्याचा मनोदय आहे. मला वाटतं आपण आता इथेच थांबूया. राकेश सोनार म्हणतायत तुम्ही याला नोटबंदीला सपोर्ट करता का? आता ते रामायण सांगितल्यानंतर रामाची सीता कोण असं मला सांगावं लागेल. त्यामुळे तुम्ही हा व्हिडिओ आहे हा आपण पहा. या प्रश्नाची उत्तरं मी यापूर्वीच आत्ताच्या या सेशनमध्येच दिलेली आहेत. आपल्या सगळ्यांच्या सहकार्याबद्दल मनपूर्वक धन्यवाद आणि तुमचे आणखी प्रश्न असतील तर आपण यानंतर परत कधीतरी एखाद्या आठवड्यानंतर किंवा 10 दिवसानंतर पुन्हा असं एखादं सेशन घेऊ. त्यावेळी विचारण्यासाठी काही प्रश्न तुम्ही तयार ठेवा आणि मला एवढंच म्हणायचं आहे की आपण 10-15 दिवसांनी ज्यावेळी भेटू त्यावेळी तुमच्या लक्षात आलेलं असेल की क्यूज किंवा रांगा ज्या बँकांच्या समोर लागलेल्या आहेत त्याची तीव्रता नक्कीच कमी झालेली असेल असा आशावाद बाळगायला काही हरकत नाही. आपल्या सगळ्यांचं पुन्हा एकदा आपल्या सर्वांना मनापासून धन्यवाद.